All right, hey, good evening, folks. Once again, we are back taking a look at the tropics. Tonight is Sunday, August 20th, 2023. This is your evening tropical update. Gonna be a fairly quick one tonight. We do have a lot of stuff going on, but thankfully, most of this is just a bunch of slop not destined for any major impacts to the U.S., but we still have the current landfall of Tropical Storm Hilary to talk quickly about over in California. That event mostly underway already, not much forecasting left to do, but we'll take a quick look at that. And then we'll look at the Atlantic, which has suddenly lit up like a Christmas tree and has a tropical wave or a tropical storm pretty much everywhere you can fit one besides the North Atlantic. So we have quite a mess on our hands, but we will start over in the Pacific side of things with the latest with what was Hurricane Hilary, now tropical storm moving into California here at the hour. This is pretty much a historical event unfolding right before our eyes. Hilary's center of circulation is somewhere right along the border of California and Mexico today. Most of the rain shield is moved up to the north of the system. You can see this heavy rain just marching in on parts of Southern California, kind of moving out of the Los Angeles area. There's still some heavy rain ongoing, but some of the more populated areas like Los Angeles and San Diego, that's moving northward and it's getting into some of the points further north. But a lot of heavy rainfall moving up. You can see this mass of tropical moisture surging in with this. It's kind of supercharging that southwest monsoon kind of look, and Hilary's rainfall moving in. You can see the Hurricane Center's advisory right here. Maximum sustained winds of Hilary down to 60 miles an hour, and that's probably gone down even more since the advisory, racing northward 23 miles an hour. But a big tropical storm force wind field. This will cause some damage in itself. But of course, the major threat remains of incredibly heavy rainfall. High risk from the SPC now stretches all the way into parts of southern Nevada, and that will be an issue throughout the area into the north. I mean, we're talking about big portions of the western U.S., parts of Idaho and, Oregon and whatnot getting in on this, even parts of Montana. And eventually this works around to the north and hopefully will bring Canada a little bit of moisture and help with the wildfires up north. But way too much rain down here, and like we've been talking about the last couple of days, very, very likely extensive flooding ongoing at this hour across parts of California. Let's go ahead and take our attention over, though, to the Atlantic side of the house. And we have quite a mess on our hands. We're going to start with our tropical system in the Gulf of Mexico. This is one of the few that aren't named at this hour. This is Invest 91L. It's a tropical wave now. It's moved across Florida and is now moving westward across the Gulf of Mexico. This is expected to progress across the Gulf over the next day or two and move into parts of central and southern Texas sometime late on Tuesday or early into Wednesday. Current presentation 91L is about what we would expect from these system. It's close, but not quite there yet. We can see an outflow boundary along the dry side of the storm to the north. We have what is definitely a wave axis, but it's very likely not a closed low yet. The winds come up and go this way, but there's no wind on the backside yet. We saw this morning with an ASCAT pass. This was early this morning, but you can see the winds on the north side of the system are quite robust, moving from east to west in that curved motion, but there are no winds on the backside. So, if you were to draw the trough axis, it would look just like this, but this is an open wave. It is not a closed low yet. However, we do expect this to become a named system probably later this week. Both GFS and Euro expect some development of the wave as it moves across the Gulf of Mexico. GFS being more aggressive as usual, it moves across and begins to develop the storm sometime late on tomorrow night into early Tuesday. The GFS does spin this up before landfall with a central pressure somewhere around a low grade tropical storm, excuse me, at best. Whereas the European model isn't actually showing a tropical storm developing. It kind of shows more like a depression or like a strong wave. It spins up a little bit right before landfall, but not really enough on the Euro to constitute a tropical storm. So at best, this is going to have a low chance to become a tropical storm before it makes landfall. It won't change the impacts a whole lot. Rainfall is going to be the primary impact with this system as well. Port, Corpus Christi, Matagorda Bay, and Point southward can expect a couple inches of rain as this moves in. This won't be one of those classic Texas just ungodly soakers. It's going to be moving at a pretty good rate. And it's going to push into Mexico pretty fast. So the rainfall totals are not going to be amazing, but this could cause some localized flooding because it's so dry. You get get 2 to 4 inches of rain in a short period of time, get some flooding from it, but not the apocalyptic rainfall we were talking about in California. And typically not something, this would not constitute a major flooding threat for Texas, but it will be welcome rain as this is a very drought stricken part of the country. Hoping to get some drought relief from them. And again, has an outside chance, but is dealing with a lot of wind shear right now. And then that shear relaxes a little bit, but that dry air from that big dry high to the north sticks around. So it's going to struggle. It may have a window, but if it does, it's going to be very close to shore, and we are not expecting a major impact from this one. But folks in South Texas, Corpus Christi and points north and southward heads up, you will be getting some kind of activity from this. Sorry, I've had a long weekend. My voice is not doing too great right now. The rest of the Atlantic Basin is, let me go ahead back to the main Hurricane Center map here real quick. We have 3 other named storms at this hour. We have seen Tropical Storm 6 form, or Tropical Depression 6 form, rather, right here. Tropical Storm Emily formed not long after that. And just at 5 p.m. this afternoon, Tropical Storm Franklin formed south of Puerto Rico. So we have a trio of named storms as the Atlantic Basin has suddenly woke up, switch flipped, just like we see every year. It's quiet, 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 and then all of a sudden, boom, it just lights off like a Christmas tree, and you've got storms everywhere. In addition to these 3 storms, we have the wave we just talked about, and we have yet another wave leaving Africa. That's the bad news. The good news is none of these storms look like, besides the one going to Texas, that none of these they're going to impact the U.S. All comes down to this big old high pressure. If we've got our, I've got the model up here over on Tropical Tidbits. I do. So here it is. By the way, this is an awesome site. I always plug it when I can. Tropical Tidbits is amazing. I use it in all my videos. It's fantastic. And the fellow who runs this does similar videos. So if you like this format of video for weather, give his videos a check out. They're on the homepage. And Levi Cowan on YouTube, also Tropical Tidbits on YouTube. You'll find him there as well. But getting back to the story here, this gigantic death heat wave over the eastern U.S. is going to cook the eastern U.S. all week. But when you have this pattern, as we talked about in the other videos, you're not going to get a tropical storm or a hurricane making landfall. It's no coincidence that 91L is going to race into South Texas because that's where it's being forced by this clockwise rotating high pressure. And there's a big weakness offshore east of the Bahamas. That's where these troughs have kind of eroded the edge of the high. So Franklin turns north over Hispaniola in Haiti, or I'm sorry, Hispaniola, Dominican Republic and Haiti, rather. Tropical storm watches are in effect today for the island, and Tropical Storm Franklin is expected to abruptly make a turn to the north in about 24 hours and move over the island on Tuesday and Wednesday. This will bring heavy rainfall and some gusty winds. Franklin expected to be a high-end tropical storm at landfall, probably 60, 70 miles an hour, could be close to hurricane status. Tropical storm watches are up for now. They could become hurricane watches and tropical storm warnings by tomorrow. And then Franklin, you see it turns away from the Bahamas in the extended outlook where that weakness in the high pressure ridge was because the actual high is kind of blocking the eastern U.S. So that rotates this way and the storm deflects away from the high and into the weakness that would be over here. So for now, Franklin, although it will be a hurricane off the coast near the Bahamas, it does not appear that Franklin is going to impact the U.S. Tropical Storm Emily, kind of the same vein, going to be turning northward again with that break in the high, our big high kind of like this, making a big shield. Franklin turns north, Emily turns north, and then I don't think I need to tell y'all much about poor Tropical Depression 6 here. I think y'all can guess that it's probably not going to be a cataclysmic threat to the eastern U.S. in any capacity. Unfortunately, that little guy there will not be getting named. So no GERT just yet. We'll see if 91L will become GERT, but no GERT here. So as we kind of make sense of everything, again, over the next several days, these 3 named storms we have here active just simply aren't going to be an issue. Again, if I draw their tracks, they kind of look like this, and then that. And then this wave off Africa, if you see them already turning northward this far out, they're almost certainly going to find their way back out to sea. So all of this mess, other than if you live in the Caribbean, obviously if you're in Hispaniola, you're going to get a lot of rain and wind from this. But in South Texas, you're good. with this one. But other than that, none of this is really going to impact anybody. The only other thing we're watching in the extended outlook is going to be the southern Gulf of Mexico and the Western Caribbean. So this map looks like complete nonsense. So I want you to just focus down here near the Yucatan Peninsula. We have the track members for 91L right there, but the members are sniffing something else out here in the extended term. It looks like we're going to have some lower pressure around Central America that's probably going to pull up into the either Gulf of Mexico, the Bay of Campeche, or over here in the Western Caribbean in the extended outlook. This is talking like towards the end of next weekend. And what we may have by then is that big high beginning to retreat and a trough coming down. And this may coax whatever's down there to move northward. So that's why some of these models are dragging some kind of low pressure over Florida or into the Gulf of Mexico in the extended outlook. This is both on the European and on the GFS, although the signal is weaker and some GFS members have the system turning more into the Gulf. Bottom line is Gulf of Mexico, we'll be watching that after all this other stuff. As you can see, almost all these track members just turn northward. They all move away, all uniformly showing that all the high here kind of blocks the U.S. and all this stuff moves away. But again, we are going to watch that outlook for the Gulf of Mexico in the extended term. So I know that was kind of disjointed, but it's the best I can do for you. My sleep schedule's pretty wrecked right now. I'm on nights and had to stay up for a couple days, and it's just been a mess. So we're doing our best out here, but that's what I got for you guys here this evening. Mostly this for YouTube to catch you guys up. I think I missed an upload onto YouTube, so I wanted to put this out there. Um, and we'll keep an eye on all this stuff, and we'll keep an eye on what comes next. But for now, it looks like no major threats for the short term, but we will be watching in that medium range as we are in the heart of the season, and the Atlantic is doing its thing. So we're going to keep an eye on that, guys. We'll also have some hurricane history stuff tonight. I believe this is the anniversary of the Indianola hurricane in 1886, Hurricane Bob in 1991, and Tropical Storm Andrew was only a couple days before landfall on this day 31 years ago now. So anyway, guys, that's what I got for you tonight on your topical update. As always, thanks for watching, and have a good one.